3 days ago, my dad called me and told me that my grandparents and my sister were arrested. So I was in shock. I couldn't believe it because my grandparents literally do nothing bad. They're the most charming people you'd ever meet. I used to live in the house. I moved out about a year ago because me and my sister did not get along. There were no cages when I lived there. And when I lived there, the kids were happy. There was always laughter. They loved school. They loved my grandparents. The cribs were never intended to be cages. They were just supposed to be regular cribs with just tops on them to make sure they didn't fall out of bed. So my grandpa just built them for safety reasons. And yes, one of them does look like a cage, which it does look pretty bad. My grandpa built them because my grandma wanted the kids to be able to stay in bed, not get out or fall out of bed. He made sure no locks were on it. He made sure it was easy to open. My grandma told me that she told my grandpa to build them because they were getting overwhelmed to taking care of 5 kids because my sister would not do anything. In my opinion, she's a horrible mom. I believe that she will never be able to know how to take care of a child in her life. My grandparents would feed all the kids, would take care of them, wash them, would make sure all their clothes were clean. When my sister would sit there on the chair all day, watch TV, play on her phone, wouldn't do anything. They have tried their absolute best to raise 5 children on their own. I believe my grandpa, James, should have never built those cages. It was a case of poor judgment, a big misunderstanding.
Well, Gunnar Bond says his sister was so angry that her grandparents had custody of her kids that she allegedly came up with a sick, twisted plot to frame them and send them to jail.
Kyla lost custody of the kids, so my grandparents filed for custody for the kids, which they won. So my sister thought of this whole idea and took pictures to set my grandma and grandpa up, make them look like bad people. Kyla took several pictures of the cribs and sent them to her mother, and her mother sent them to authorities. And the reason Kyla did this is because she wanted to get custody of her children back, but because she lived in the house, she also got arrested for it. She did that to make my grandparents look like they were abusing the children, putting them in cages and locking them up. So my sister planned this whole situation, but it backfired on her.
Well, joining us now is David Bond, Kyla's father, and the son of Pamela and James Bond. So Gunnar, thank you. David, thank you for being here. So guys, this to me looks pretty bad. This looks pretty egregious.
Yeah, really bad. Looks bad.
So what do y'all say? David, what do you say?
The only thing I can say is I've been estranged from the family the last 3.5, 4 years. I know my mom would text every now and then. The little boy, he used to get out in the yard 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. They found him out in the highway playing. Next door neighbors brought him home 4 o'clock in the morning. They couldn't keep him in the house, keep him out of the cupboards. I mean, and I don't condone there being tops on those cages. There shouldn't have been. But that's the reasoning why that was, to keep him in the house.
Well, are you justifying it? Are you saying it's okay?
No.
Because you're saying that the kids run out in the street.
No.
Well, supervise them. What the hell are you talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I did a poor judgment on their call. Very poor judgment.
And what do you think this is just a setup of your grandparents?
I do believe that, 'cause my sister's been living there for a while now. And why couldn't she take the pictures while they're there, not when they leave the house?
Well, let's talk about what's in the pictures, not when she took them.
Right.